Bonjour à tous et à toutes, et merci d'être là aujourd'hui. Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning in. I am very thrilled to teach you how to introduce yourself naturally and confidently in French. So whether you're traveling to France, speaking with French friends, preparing for an exam, or you're just simply starting your French journey. Of course, introducing yourself is always the very first conversation you'll have. Especially in French culture, first impression matters the most. French people usually begin conversations politely and appreciate when someone makes an effort to speak their language, even if you're just a beginner. So please don't worry about being perfect. Making mistakes is the fastest way to learn.
Votre nom, your name.
So in French culture, introducing yourself is usually a little more formal at the beginning than in many English-speaking countries. Even in casual situations, people often prefer polite and structured phrases when meeting someone for the first time. A small but very interesting detail: in France, it's very common to shake hands when you meet someone new, even in situations where other countries might just wave or say hi. Now let's learn how to introduce ourselves. The first thing people usually want to know is, of course, your name. In French, there are several ways to introduce yourself. We will start with Je m'appelle Marie. My name is Marie. Please repeat after me. Je m'appelle Marie. Or you can just say Je suis Marie. I'm Mary. I'm Mary. I'm Marie. Je suis Marie. Another very common expression is Mon nom est Jean-Luc. My name is Jean-Luc. Please repeat. Mon nom est Jean-Luc. This sounds a little more formal, but in everyday French culture, people often switch between these forms depending on the situation. More formal introductions in professional or polite settings make sense, and simpler ones among friends. It's also quite normal in France to take a moment before switching to first names, especially when meeting someone for the first time.
D'où viens-tu? Where are you from?
One of the most common ways to start a conversation is by showing curiosity about others. People often enjoy small, friendly exchanges with strangers, especially when they hear a different accent. It's completely normal in France for someone to quickly ask where you come from. Not out of formality, but simply to connect. So don't be surprised if one of the first questions is D'où venez-vous? Which means where do you come from? Please repeat after me. D'où venez-vous? Let's learn how to answer. Je viens d'Allemagne. I come from Germany. Please repeat after me. Je viens d'Allemagne. Now I will give you some other options. Please, every time I said an option, repeat after me. You know the game. Je viens des États-Unis. Je viens du Canada. Je viens d'Angleterre. Je viens d'Irlande. Je viens d'Australie. Great. At the end of a conversation in France, it's also quite common to just circle back to personal details, like where someone is from, almost as a polite way of showing interest in keeping the exchange warm and human. Even short conversations often feel personal rather than purely functional, which is part of what makes French social interactions feel quite engaging.
Votre âge, your age.
In French-speaking cultures, age is often shared quite naturally when you introduce yourself. It's not considered overly personal in most everyday contexts, especially among students or when meeting new people. You'll often hear age mentioned right after a name, almost as casually as saying where someone is from. Well, to say your age in French, you use the verb to have. This is different from English. J'ai 20 ans. I'm 20 years old. Please repeat after me. J'ai 20 ans. J'ai 30 ans. I'm 30 years old. J'ai 30 ans. J'ai 40 ans. I'm 40 years old. J'ai 40 ans. J'ai 50 ans. I'm 50 years old. J'ai 50 ans. It's also very common to include your age when meeting people for the first time in formal or semi-formal introductions, almost like giving a quick snapshot of who you are. In casual conversations, however, people usually don't repeat the age often unless it's relevant. So once it's said, that tends to just sit in the background of the conversation rather than being emphasized.
Votre ville d'origine. Your hometown.
In French culture, where you live is often more than just a practical detail. It's part of your identity. People tend to feel a strong connection to their region, whether it's a bustling city like Paris or a quiet countryside village. It's very common in conversations to ask where someone is from. And the answer often leads to discussion about local foods, traditions, and even dialects. So let's start with J'habite à Paris. I live in Paris. Your turn. J'habite à Paris. J'habite à Lyon. I live in Lyon. J'habite à Lyon. J'habite à Marseille. I live in Marseille. J'habite à Marseille. J'habite à Montréal. I live in Montreal. J'habite à Montréal. J'habite dans une petite ville. I live in a small town. J'habite dans une petite ville. J'habite dans un grand village. I live in a large village. J'habite dans un grand village. Ma vie est très calme. My town is very quiet. Ma vie est très calme. Ma vie est très animée. My town is very lively. Ma vie est très animée. Il y a beaucoup de restaurants. There are many restaurants. Il y a beaucoup de restaurants. Il y a beaucoup de parcs. There are many parks. Il y a beaucoup de parcs. In everyday French life, it's also very typical to compare towns and cities almost like a friendly competition. People might probably say their region has the best foods, the most beautiful landscapes, or the warmest community. Even small places are often described with affection rather than simply being small.
Votre profession. Your profession.
Talking about your profession is a natural part of everyday conversation. It often comes up quite early when meeting someone new. For example, after greetings and a bit of small talk, people usually ask what you do for a living. It's considered a simple way to understand someone's background and social context. Interestingly, in French culture, your job is often seen as a part of your identity, not just something you do. So, let's start with Je suis professeur. I am a teacher. Je suis professeur. Je suis ingénieur. I am an engineer. Je suis ingénieur. Je suis médecin. I am a doctor. Je suis médecin. Je suis étudiant. I am a student. Je suis étudiant. Je suis développeur. I am a software developer. Je suis développeur. Je suis architecte. I am an architect. Je suis architecte. Je travaille dans le marketing. I work in marketing. Je travaille dans le marketing. I work in marketing. Je travaille dans le marketing. Je travaille dans la finance. I work in finance. Je travaille dans la finance. Je travaille à mon compte. I am self-employed. Je travaille à mon compte. Je travaille à distance. I work remotely. Je travaille à distance. J'ai ma propre entreprise. I have my own business. J'ai ma propre entreprise. Once you've shared this kind of introduction, the conversation often continues quite naturally into topics like studies, work-life balance, or even how much people enjoy their profession. So it's common for people to show curiosity about why you choose your job, not just what it is. In a way, it turns a simple job title into a small story about your life. Congratulations, you survived part number 1. If you also want to know how to talk about your studies, hobbies, families, personality, dreams and goals, then please check out part number 2 on my channel and we see us in the next video. Salut!